Hello Internet, I'm Guy. One of the cool things about being a home shop machinist, as I think most of my viewers are or would like to be, is that you can fix things that nobody else can fix, or most other people can't. Case in point is this humidifier. I have several of these around the house because it's winter in Maine and it's very, very dry around here. And so this thing is running all the time in my bedroom, and I have some in my living room. Also, I should note that in the description below, I have put some links to some blog posts I've done about energy efficiency when it comes to humidifiers. This is one of the most efficient types. This is actually an ultrasonic one that produces a cool mist, as you can see here, and it is a fraction of the power of most other designs. But when I went to refill this one recently, I took this off here like this, and I looked inside here, and this little part here, which I'll show you closer in a moment, had broken. It's a tiny little plastic part. So what I'm going to do is rebuild it or replace it today by looking at one of the other units and finding out what the dimensions are and making a new one. If I unscrew this part right here, which contains some weird ceramic pellets, something to do with keeping water clean or something, then I can see how the valve works. When I put this down on the base here, when this gets pushed in, it opens this little valve here. And this is just a little silicone ring and a spring and a part. And so this part is what broke, this little plastic part here. So I'm going to pull this silicone ring off of here, take that out, take the spring off, and this is what I need to replace and rebuild. So let's jump over to the lathe, and I'm going to turn down a piece of white Delrin. This is the tool chest underneath my lathe where I keep a lot of my tooling parts, and this is where I keep a bunch of scrap materials. And what I'm thinking is I need a piece of 1/2-inch Delrin like this. Let me see if I've got another piece. It doesn't matter, either piece, maybe something, oh, it's a shorter one right there. All right, we'll grab that and we'll throw it on the lathe. Okay, let's chuck this up. It should be enough stick out there. Let's see. That's almost enough. We'll move it out later. Okay, I've got my machine all set up, and I'm just going to take off a little bit right down to there because I don't want a lot of stick out on this very thin piece of material. So I'm going to start off by truing up this section, and then I'll take a measurement and figure out how much to take off to get down to the desired dimension. Here we go. So this is my carriage speed and direction switch for my motorized carriage. Just flip that over and it'll start driving the carriage across, making a cut. And then I can stop and reverse back out again. I'll put a link to the motorized carriage video that I made a while ago, but I really find this really helpful. Since I don't cut threads, I'm just using this system to drive the carriage back and forth. All right, let's measure this surface here, this diameter. Get that locked in, and let's see what we've got here. 0.472. So let's go over and do some math on that to see how we get from point A to point B. So what I do now is I take 0.472, let me make a note here, hold on. 0.472, and then I've got to get it down to the dimension of the actual part. So let's measure that, and that is 0.161. So we're going to go to 0.161, remembering that this is diameter. So I'm going to run the calculator here, and we're going to go 0.472 minus 0.161, and that's 0.311, but again, that's diameter. So now we're going to divide by 2, and what we need to do now is go to 0.155. So I'm now going to go over to my digital readout and zero it, so I know that that's how far I have to go. Resetting this to 0 for the cross-slide DRO. Now keep in mind that these DROs, which you can get from Little Machine Shop and a number of other places, only record the position of the wheel. They don't record the position of the cross slide here. So what you need to do is set yourself up so you're always turning in the direction you're going to go when you zero it, so you've got a reference start. So I'm going to take a bunch of 20 thou passes, oh, maybe 30, let's be generous here, 35, just because I turned it that far. Okay, here we go. First pass, I'm going to engage the clutch on my drive system here, and what I like about my motorized carriage is that when I go in, I make a good cut, and I come back out and I make a spring pass. So now I'm down to a dimension on my DRO that says 0.150. Let me just measure and confirm where I'm at. So now I'm reading 0.172, and I'm shooting for 0.161. So let's see if I'm on track here. According to my math, I've got to go down another 0.011 to get to where I need to be. So I'm actually going to zero my DRO right now and then dial that in to 0.01. This is not super critical, but let's give it a go here. So I'm going to come out extra slow for a spring pass here to make a nice surface finish. It does mung up on the surface there, so it takes a bunch of time to clean off all of the stuff that hangs on, as you'll see in a moment here. So I just take my fingers and just clean all that residue off of there, and that'll get me a cleaner reading when I'm reading that surface there. It just tends to bind on there. That's Delrin for you. It's gummy stuff. So now I have the larger diameter done. What I'm going to do now is just put a couple of Sharpie marks right here for this little recess. Get that right on there and right there. That's what's going to capture that little silicone valve part. So now I'm going to just drop in there and make that little reduction to a known dimension, as I showed you before how to do it. Okay, so I brought in my new pointy cutter head so I can shoot straight into this spot here. I've zeroed my DRO after I've touched off onto this surface, and according to my math, I've got to go 0.015. So I am going to start the lathe and drive that in and then move across by hand. Looks good. And then just driving this by hand to my other mark. Right there. Let's see if that compares favorably with the original part. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay. Now, in order to make this little taper here, I think the logical thing to do is just use a lathe file. So I'm just going to do this by hand, going in from underneath like this, and just sweep it down. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that should enable the little silicone thing to slide over there. That's the reason for the taper. So now I just have to clear out the rest of this back to the stop on this side here and continue. So now I'm going to just eyeball this dimension here. It's so not critical, but I'm going to get this lined up so I can cut right up underneath that surface there. And by the way, I'm setting a mechanical stop on the machine that also stops the travel of the carriage. So I'm continuing to work my way down here. I'm going to be taking 20 and 30 thousandths passes now. A couple more passes and we're there. And final pass, I'm going to go a little slower on the carriage movement this time to make a more refined cut. I'm going to stop there just so I can clear this out and see if it looks good. Actually, I think I'm going to come in just a little bit more. So let me do that. Get this out of the way. All right, just a tad more. And again, this is so not critical in dimension. But given that there's so much wiggle here, as you can see, it's probably a little tighter here and a little bigger here. So I'm just going to do a very, very light pass here to clean that up. Okay, that looks like that's going to work just fine. So now I have this whole dimension up to here. Now what I need to do is part this off. So I'm going to take it out of the chuck here, loosen it up a little bit, bring it out, and put the parting tool in here. So once again, I'm just eyeballing this thickness right here with the parting tool, and that should be fine. And I have locked down the carriage so it can't move, and I'm just going to go ahead and drive on through. There we are. A lot of that stuff is caught in there, but we can see that we have this finished now with a very slight pip there that I'm going to just cut off with a file, I think, and that should be the part. We'll go and check it on the actual humidifier. Here's the original part and the spring that goes over it, and I totally forgot to turn this diameter down, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to slide the spring on here, put it into the part like that, push it through, and then slide that on there, and that looks like it should work just as intended. Very satisfying project.